Alrighty, people. Week 2 is in. Well, week 1 is in the books. Week 2 has just begun. A lot of you guys are scheming right now on your different fantasy platforms, looking through the waiver wire. Hopefully, you found the video we dropped today helpful. And wait, that was yesterday. Sorry, yesterday's video helpful. And we can obviously answer some waiver wire questions today as well. But we appreciate y'all being here with us. Do us a favor as the stream starts and hit that like button. Simple way for you to help this channel grow. You can see at the top of your screen, we are edging ever closer.
Come on, edge it out.
To 25,000. All right. We love a good edge. Who doesn't? So, if you haven't subscribed, obviously consider subscribing. But we are going to answer your week 2 questions, start sits, trades, everything.
Whatever you need.
All right. So all that's going to be answered today. If you want to skip the queue entirely, we have an incredible website that we can answer your questions on, which is very exciting to be a part of. In fact, we are going to start today's stream with a couple of those questions. Check out the pinned link. You can also use the link I just put in the chat as well. But let's have a look here for Aaron's team. This is a Dynasty team, and it looks like he is wanting us to set his lineup for him. So at wide receiver, we're definitely going with Malik Neighbors this week. Not the best start for your Giants last week, but a good bounce back opportunity here versus the Commanders in a fantastic matchup. Garrett Wilson, 11 targets in his debut with Aaron Rodgers, if you will. Jake Ferguson, we're going to have to find an alternate for Jake Ferguson if he's not healthy. But right now, if he does play, that's a fine option. Chase Brown, no longer someone that I believe you can consider. So these are your best options. We'll probably go with Zach Charbonnet, hoping that Ken Walker is out this week. Chuba Hubbard, again, not a name that you can really start, but who else can you start on this team? Hopefully you hit us back here and let us know if you have any better options. But we'll go with Caleb Williams. We'll go with Justin Herbert, considering your other options are Bryce Young. Jaden Reed in the flex. I think we're going to play... I'm going to play Tank Dell over Jaden Reed this week. How about you?
Yes, 1,000% I will start him over Jaden Reed.
Okay. So we are on the same page there. And then at the flex, I think Zay Flowers. The only other option is Lad McConkey, who is definitely interesting moving forward. But between Zay, Lad, and Jaden Reed, where do you sit this week? That's actually a tough one, I would say.
Yeah, Zay, Lad, and Jaden Reed.
By a couple spots over Lad, personally.
Yeah, I have Zay Flowers, but I'm a little bit concerned about this game script. I think they're going to really establish the run. This is going to be a big Derrick Henry game. They just gave up a lot of points to the running back this past week, the Raiders. So, I mean, they gave up a lot of points to Josh Dobbins in yards. So I think that's kind of what we're going to see, which is a little bit scary.
Yeah.
I have Zay Flowers, but Lad McConkey's really close there going against the Panthers this week.
Super close, man. And it's great to see him get 7 targets in his rookie debut in that offense. That is awesome to see. All right, guys. So if you want to get your question answered through the website, that is the #1 priority if you want to get it answered straight away. Incredible features we got over there. I'll put a link in the chat one more time. But shout out to Aaron for asking his question through the site. We appreciate you big time, friend. Let's get back to some of these other questions. We've got a super chat to start here with Rob. My name is Rob, and I like to party. He says, drop Deshaun for Carr in a 2-quarterback league for my 3rd quarterback. I'll be honest, in a 2-quarterback league, I think you should have both of these names rostered.
Yeah, I would agree. I personally would still want Deshaun long-term. I think Derek Carr just had a really good game against a terrible defense. I don't think that's going to be something that you expect every week. And the same thing with Deshaun. He went against a good defense as well. So, yes, I do agree they both need to be rostered, but I still want Deshaun long-term.
Yeah, absolutely understandable. All right, so guys, you can either ask a question through the website. That's the #1 priority for us to respond to, or you can super chat. Both of those options are going to skip the queue for you. Otherwise, we will go in order. Shout out to Rob for the first super chat of the stream. So from top to bottom, non-super chat questions. The first one is from Patrick Mahomey, who says, hey, guys, I have 3 Dolphins on my team, Waddle, Achane, and Mostert. Should I drop Mostert for Dobbins? Yes, I would prefer Dobbins over Mostert rest of the season, as crazy as that sounds right now.
Yeah, I think it's hard to drop Raheem. I know they're both struggling with injury right now.
Yeah.
But I would want Dobbins right now over Mostert. I just still want to keep them rostered. So keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
I definitely understand
Um,
that. After week 1, I moved Mostert to my RB33 rest of season, Dobbins to my RB24. We have to be aware that there's still a chance that, Gus could be more and more involved. He technically did have a goal line carry, but as of right now, it looks like Dobbins is that dude in that offense. Ken Walker or James Cook, I guess this week in particular is a question.
for me, this is James Cook.
Yeah.
I know there's question marks with
in
Ken
week 1.
Walker's. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably go James Cook as well. I just prefer that matchup a little bit more versus Miami. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I want names in that game. As far as Ken Walker goes, he faces the Patriots, who actually are a pretty good defense. We found that out last week, and I was talking about that last week when we were talking about this backfield, how, hey, the Patriots aren't a good team, but their defense is much better than people give them credit for. So I think I'm going to go with you there as well with James Cook.
Yeah, Jorge, who should I start in my flex, Dobbins or Ramondre Stevenson? This would be Ramondre Stevenson for me.
Yeah, I agree. The PPR work that he gets is undeniable.
Once again, love Dobbins. This week he's one of my, I guess, a must start on. If you go watch our short channel, I did put him in a video that you guys should start this week. I like him, but I'll start Ramondre Stevenson over him. Should I trade Ramondre and Dobbins for Jonathan Brooks? Sorry, Ramondre, Dobbins, and Jonathan Brooks for Kyren.
Oh, all three?
All three. I would say it feels... Well, I guess there's two questions. How many starting lineups do you have? At the end of the day, I still want Kyren Williams. But like if this is like a start 10, a start 11, or whatever the case may be, maybe I want to keep the depth. Or if this is a start 7, I definitely want Kyren Williams.
Yeah, I agree. How big your lineup is everything here. If you're in a 12-man start 10, we'll take all those running backs. If you're in a 8-man start 7, for example, you got to take the best player, which is Kyren Williams. We did get a super chat from Zell TV, so Zell is going to skip the queue. Appreciate you, Zell. He says, DK, Palmer, Shakir for flex. We're still going to go DK Metcalf here.
I agree.
DK, here's what happened. Pat Surtain said, fuck around and find out. Okay? And DK found out real quickly. Pat Surtain is no joke. He is Himothy. There's a reason he is the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. So there's not a single Seahawk that did well last week, but we're still going to rock with DK Metcalf heading into week 2.
He was
panic off him.
Yeah, he was clearly the number one guy. He ran the most routes, a significant amount of more routes than JSN and Tyler Lockett. So I think you are not significant, but you get what I'm saying. Like he just ran the most routes out of those wide receivers there. But thank you so much for that super chat. We did get another one. Miles, he said, "Yo, rank the following here. Thanks. Waddle, Lazard, Dortch, 80, and Madison."
Wandale, yeah. To me, this is Wandale, but I was actually kind of surprised by how many people had no interest in Wandale with the video that we released, and also just listening to other people's waiver wire videos. To me, Wandale, like Lazard, Mike Williams is going to come back. I don't know how you can trust that. With Dortch, I definitely think we're going to see more Marvin Harrison Jr. With Adonai Mitchell, you have to think about Josh Downs, who will come back at some point, and that will limit his opportunities already in limited opportunities. With Madison, so to me, it's really Wandale or Madison, and it depends on the needs of your team. But I would lean Wandale if you need some sort of like flex at this point. I think Madison might be the safer play. This is a little strange, but something to keep in mind is Madison had a baby the day the game was happening. I don't know if you know this. And there is maybe the potential that the team was like, hey, Alexander's having a baby right now and he's playing the game. Let's make this the Madison game. I don't know. Maybe not. But to me, it would be Madison.
The Madison game, they lost.
Yeah, well, he got the work. Well, like the snaps and everything. It would be Madison if you need a running back, Wandale if you need a wide receiver from me.
Agreed. Completely agree here. We did get a bunch of other super chats. Thank you so much, guys. You guys will skip the queue with the super chat. Next with the super chat is Bruce. He says full PPR Williams or Godwin as a flex. This would be Godwin. If this is Javonte Williams, Mike Williams, or maybe Jameson Williams, I would still potentially want to go Godwin over, for me, Jameson Williams this week. I think I need to see it one more time for JMO. But Godwin, like I said, I wasn't big on him, and he proved me wrong. He caught 8 out of 8 targets. He was the guy there. It felt like, and this week they play. This week they play the Lions, so it should be a high-scoring game.
Yes, well, Godwin was one of my starts of the week last week. Obviously, that hit. There are names that didn't hit, but we're going to keep riding that wave. We're going to keep riding it. We said we loved Godwin this year, coming out of the slot again, and we're going to keep riding with him. But Jameson's obviously a fun name. Like, that's great that you have those options.
Yeah,
Not
it is very
have
fun.
those options there.
No question.
OJ in the Bronco, but he's able to donate a super chat. He says, would you trade Brian Thomas and Waddle for Kupp? That feels like a lot. Although, let's talk about Cooper Kupp for a second. I updated my rest of season rankings on the website, and I would like you just to guess where I have Cooper Kupp ranked amongst wide receivers, Badaki, for the rest of the year. I'd like you just to guess here before I reveal it.
I would imagine like a top 7.
Top 7?
Yeah.
Okay. He's my wide receiver 3 moving forward.
Is that ahead of like? You must have like him ahead of Amon-Ra.
Yep.
In front of AJ Brown.
Yep.
In front of Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
So I'm assuming it's Tyreek, CeeDee, and then Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
Right. Okay. I mean, with Puka Nacua being out on IR, he's gonna get all those touches. He saw 22.
Cooper Kupp just had 21 targets.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
And he looked like 2021 Cooper Kupp. If you have Cooper Kupp, I just don't see why you would sell him. I mean, sure, he could get injured, but this is exactly what you want from Cooper Kupp. You know for the next 4 weeks at minimum, he is going to get like 12 to 15 targets a game. You just know that that's going to happen for the most part. You know that Puka Nacua has an injury that might get re-injured if he comes back too early. They said 4 weeks at minimum. So it might be 5, it might be 6 weeks. We don't know that. And even when Puka was on the field, you saw Cooper Kupp getting the preferred targets, I guess, early on. Not to say that Puka wasn't involved. He definitely was. They both would have been great draft picks. But, yeah, so with that in mind, I don't see like how you value – I don't see how someone could value these other names over Cooper Kupp, though.
For me, I would still have Amon-Ra rest of the season. I would still have Garrett Wilson rest of the season, but I think that's where I kind of land. I think I can see Cooper Kupp outscoring AJ Brown on a week-to-week basis. No doubt Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow look really tough right now. So I see the guys that I mentioned for sure having Cooper Kupp over them. But I still believe in Amon-Ra. I think he just had a bad game. It's so encouraging seeing Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. Just imagine them not playing the 49ers. Oh my God. Like, that's just going to be...
Sure. 21 targets good?
Poetry. It could be 21 targets good.
By the way, did you have Javonte Williams as a my guy? Because I didn't. I'm trying to understand this question or this comment. Did you have, like, in a short release or anything? Someone said my guy's a bum, Javonte Williams. We haven't even talked about Javonte Williams much, if at all, on this channel.
I didn't say it. I haven't brought up Javonte Williams at all.
Okay, interesting. I was
never.
Did Badaki have him as a my guy?
I was never in on Javonte Williams this year. I really love Jaleel McLaughlin. Anyways,
let's answer this question. Let's answer the question: Brian Thomas, Waddle, or Kupp? Who are you going to take here? This feels like too much of a price to pay, to be honest. Like, can you get Kupp and Zeke? Can you get Kupp and Deontay Johnson? Like a lower level
you need
name.
something else. You need something else for sure. I think this feels like a little bit too much. But it's also depending, like, is this a start 7? If it's a start 7, I want Cooper Kupp. If this is a start 9, start 10, give me Thomas and Waddle because I get more depth on my roster. That's where I would be going there. So hopefully that helps. Daniel Wright, he says, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. Do I send Warren and Polk for Robinson? My running back room is Devon, Warren, Brown. If not, who should I target? Wide receivers are London, Olave, Rice is a 14 team.
I would totally take the Brian Robinson Jr. side of this. I love Polk, but like in all honesty, Brian Robinson, I was a little bit surprised by how much they did use him in the air. That was very, very encouraging to see. So yeah,
especially
I would absolutely.
Especially over Eckler this week as well. I think a lot of people were scared about Brian Thomas because of Eckler, and that he was going to get those opportunities. But
it was a negative game script the entire game, and Brian Robinson still got work. So what could it be if there is ever a positive game script? He's negative game script proof. So I mean, I love Brian Robinson moving forward as, just like a middling top 24 to 28 type of option.
Yeah. Sell or Russ, if I said that right. It says have waiver wire 3. Mm-hmm. Okay,
As
big priority available.
Yeah,
sure. Dobbins, Mason, Charbonnet, Likely, Madison, Bigsby. Which three should be at the top? Well, if you need running back, I would be prioritizing Dobbins and or Mason.
That's a good question this week, like Dobbins versus Mason. Because I was listening to the footballers this morning. I love them. They're really the main people that I listen to. I just think they're hilarious. And it's a big conversation because Andy believes that Mason's going to be relevant when CMC is back.
Yeah.
And then some of the other guys didn't. Okay, so that's good because we're on the opposite side. When CMC is back, I do not think you can start Jordan Mason at any point ever.
Look, I don't think you can start him. I think he's going to... I completely agree. I just think there's going to be a role. Is CMC going to be getting 25 plus carries now? He probably drops down to 18. Now, that's not... In the grand scheme of things, that's not big, but that means there is a role cut out for Jordan Mason. That's how I perceive it. I don't know what Andy said.
The spell role is going to be there, but I don't think there's going to be any startable usage here. Like when CMC's back, there's a reason he's one of the highest paid running backs in the league. And when they're in games that are like competitive, it just feels like you're going to have CMC out there. So to me, if you want to win this week, Jordan Mason. But by the way, CMC might play. And for me, if you want someone that can be a season-long asset, I think that's J.K. Dobbins. So I would have Dobbins over Mason in my waiver wire.
I would have Dobbins over Mason as well. I just think Mason actually has a role still in this backfield. But long-term, Dobbins can easily be the running back one where we know Mason is just, like you said, the spell back role.
Yes. And that's not valuable unless CMC's out. So you're gonna potentially miss out on a name that could help you straight away. So yeah, for me this would be in order: Dobbins, Likely is there too. I just realized that. If you need tight end, I'd put Likely 1. If you need running back, I'd put Dobbins 1. But those would be my top 2 options. It'd be Dobbins and Likely, depending on what position you need help at more. But Likely is probably the one that you like. If both of these guys hit, you probably would be really sad you missed out on Likely.
Yeah, I completely agree. Shane with the next super chat here. He says start Stroud or AR, also B-Rob or Mason or Moss, excuse me. So B-Rob or Moss is definitely Brian Robinson for me. Stroud or AR. I'm still going CJ Stroud personally. I understand Anthony Richardson. I mean, look. Actually, let me just pause. Let me just triple check this in my rankings before I put my foot in my mouth.
This is Anthony Richardson for me. In fact, I went ahead and moved Anthony Richardson ahead of CJ Stroud in my rest of season rankings. Why? Because he completed 9 passes. He completed 9 passes and was Anthony a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football. This is why fantasy is fun, because you can analyze it in a different way. Clearly, CJ Stroud's a better quarterback. It doesn't matter in fantasy football, okay? So, yeah, I'm going to start Anthony Richardson. He's a must-start every week.
I have Anthony Richardson higher than CJ Stroud this week as well. I think
This isn't a Dynasty channel. We don't need to talk about long.
It's not. No, that's why I stopped. That's why I stopped myself. Chase, thank you so much.
We have another question there in that super chat. Moss or B-Rob?
I said B-Rob.
Okay, I'll go B-Rob too. Yeah. By the way, Brian Robinson faces your Giants. I loved Aaron Jones last week. He went off. I think your defense, I'm sorry, I just don't think it's that good. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm ready for the 101. Chase, please, experts, I need your help. PPR 2 flex spots between Tank, Amara, Brian Thomas, Lab McConkey.
Alvin Kamara, by the way, not Amon-Ra.
Sorry, Alvin Kamara. This am I wrong? For me,
Okay.
this is Alvin. This is. Let me triple check.
Well, you
I think
can't
for
say Alvin
sure.
Kamara in my opinion, and you got to play Tank Dell. So, Lav McConkey is a my guy coming into the season. Alvin Kamara
Yeah,
is a my guy. But I'm gonna go Alvin Kamara and Tank Dell. Why?
think that.
Because I think Tank Dell's outlook is very bright. He ran pretty much the same amount of routes as Nico Collins, as Stephon Diggs, and he had 8 targets, just as many as Collins, just as many more than Stephon Diggs. So Tank Dell should absolutely be in starting lineups moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Tank Dell and then Alvin Kamara there. We did get another super chat from Kyle. Thank you so much. He said Kyler Murray or Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's a good one moving
This
forward.
one,
I think
this one for me
yeah.
is Kyler Murray.
Okay.
I like what he did. I think Jaden Daniels obviously had a great week. He finished QB3. But I think Kyler Murray should have a high scoring game this week and playing against the Rams. That's kind of where I'm going right now.
Jaden Daniels, my guy. Yeah, I'm victory lapping after week 1. I'm kidding. I mean, look, he could still be terrible, but I mean, if you hit on Jaden Daniels in round 10, how you feeling right now, people? How you feeling? Yeah, so you're going Kyler Hay.
Yeah. I think both of these guys have similar upside, but for me, it's Kyler Murray.
Versus your Giants. Ooh, I don't know, man.
Historically, the Giants have always been good against Commanders, but
history doesn't matter when you have a player who can rush for 100 yards at quarterback now. We haven't had that ever outside of RG3.
And what happened to him? Dead. Not jokes.
He died. Look, I do still lean Kyler, but they're back-to-back in my rankings. Like, I'm barely on the Kyler side here. And something that needs to be said, by the way, is a lot of people don't realize how bad the wind was in the Bills-Cardinals game. So there wasn't a lot of downfield action. Like, you'll notice that if you rewatch the game. This game's going to be in a dome, so that could definitely change. But, yeah, I slightly lean Kyler. But to be honest, at this point, I would try and trade away one of these names and improve my roster somewhere else.
Eric, he said, love the Flock League channel. Led me to you guys. That's awesome, man. I'm glad. If you guys don't know, by the way, before we answer this question, we did release another video on the Flock League. It's been amazing over there, recapping of week 1, all the trades, all the talking shit between all the creators and the devs is all on there. So definitely go check that out on the Flock League. Brian Thomas Jr. or Shakir in a half PPR. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that Thursday game looks juicy. It definitely does look juicy, but I'm still going with Brian Thomas Jr. In my opinion here. Love Shakir.
Yeah. So you got a guy who had 3 targets in Shakir. If Shakir doesn't get into the end zone, we're not talking about him. I mean, he played, 60% of snaps or something like that. So it's obvious that Shakir is not a full-time player at this point. And as far as Brian Thomas Jr., yeah, he got 4 targets, but I think his targets are more valuable because they are those deep down the field targets, targets that are, those game-breaking plays. So I would lean Brian Thomas slightly, but I definitely understand the question.
Yeah, I understand the question as well. I think Shakira, I agree. I think I'm going to be in a position this week where Shakira, I'm going to have to start Shakira. But I mean, the last time Shakira played the Dolphins, that was kind of like his big game last year. I think it was like one of the last weeks when they were trying to make it into the playoffs, and they did. I think he had like over 15 fantasy points that week. I'm not saying that's what I'm expecting, but that's what you hope for. But I understand. I'm still going Brian Thomas Jr. Solving Donkey 2 says, have Olave really Kirk Ayuk equal 19.1? Do I worry? I mean,
no.
I look a couple people in that position. I'll be honest with you, but it's only week 1. But relax. You're right.
Did you do your wide receiver rankings for this week yet? Because I made the wide receiver start sit video. It was like the most difficult start sit video I've ever made. So I think a lot of people are in a position where they had wide receivers who just did not perform. And unfortunately, we're going to have to try and shuffle through what's real and what's not. To me, I'm not panicked on Olave. I'm not panicked on Ayuk. I'm a little concerned about Ridley. I'm definitely concerned about Kirk. With Ridley, this was the thing going into the season with the Titans. It was like everything's going to change, everything's going to look different, and that's true. But everything was reliant upon Will Levis improving like 5%. We just needed you to improve 5 to 10% compared to what you were last year. I don't think he's looked any better at all. The dude can still not sense pressure in a pocket to save his life. I mean, it's tough watching. So he's going to be the number one target, but is it like how many of those targets are catchable? What does that really mean? How many layups will you get? So to me, I'm not worried about Olave. They never needed him in that game. Ayuk, I literally listed him as a player that would bust in week 1 in a video. I have him in the flock league. We are smashing Ayuk into lineups this week versus the Vikings. He's going to be a great play. But those other two I'm worried about a little bit.
No, I definitely get it. I've never been a big Olave guy. Obviously, he wasn't needed in the game script, but I think we're going to see. These are the type of games that I was concerned about drafting Olave in, the middle to early third round. But yes, Ayuk is the guy I'll be okay starting this week. Dylan, guys, if you guys don't know, we're going through the super chats. Then we're going back to the top, and the next guy in the super chat is Dylan. He said, Fields, Kamara, Gibbs. What's the question? On the bench, what moves should I be looking to make? Fields, Kamara, Gibbs, Garrett, DJ, Ferguson, Rashid, Caleb, Najee. Well, you need a tight end. That's what I'll tell you right now. If you can get a tight end off the waiver wires, that's probably your best move. But I think everyone else, you start Fields if he's starting, Kamara,
I try
Gibbs.
and use Najee. I try and use Najee and Ferguson and try and get like a startable name. I don't think Ferguson's going to play. I mean, do we have any update on that?
I haven't seen anything right now, but I think what we do know is kind of like week to week. So they're not putting him on IR from what I understand, which is just kind of encouraging, but also annoying. Like, I don't know if it's worse for him not to just go on IR and just know that he's going to be out 4 games.
The latest report is Jake Ferguson to work with the return to group play Wednesday, which means what the hell are we talking about here? What the hell does that mean?
What's the return to group play?
Return
IR?
to play group.
Return to play group? Like he's working out with the people that are on IR.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, what you could do is you could pick up Luke Schoonmaker if Jake Ferguson misses this game, pick up Luke Schoonmaker, put Jake Ferguson on your IR, and then just hold. But at the moment, like, this team is really good. I don't see why you would trade any of these names. Why would you trade Kamara, Gibbs, Garrett, Rashee Rice? Like, you've drafted well. I think one thing that you could look to do again is trade for a tight end. If you can package Najee and Ferguson and go out and get, a Trey McBride right now, I think that's probably ideal. But right now, I'm thinking your team's looking pretty damn good, brother.
I would agree there. Thank you for the super chat. Gerardo is next. He said trade Waddle Pollard for JT Olave. Trade Waddle and Pollard for JT and Olave. He said got Walker, Pollard, Corn, Benson, and Lamb, Nico, Waddle, JSN. So do you want Waddle or Pollard or JT and Olave? I mean, I'll be honest with you, you have 2 guys. Who you're trying to trade for are 2 guys that I don't want, in JT and Olave. Now, they're higher in my rankings. Actually, I have Waddle higher than Olave, but JT is significantly higher than Pollard.
Yeah, I think I don't think
I feel like
Pollard is going to be that reliable every week, to be honest. So I do think, in theory, you should go with the JT side of this deal.
Olave.
Jonathan Taylor
agree.
is someone that we were not very excited about this year. I think you and I both were on the same page there, where it's just like, hey, I don't think he's going to get many targets, because Anthony Richardson is the most athletic quarterback ever. I don't think he's, he definitely will get vultured. Those things are true so far, but JT is coming into a really good week, a good opportunity versus the Packers. They gave up the most points in week 1 to running backs. We'll see if that trend continues. And I think Olave is going to bounce back. We're talking about a guy who averaged over 8 targets per game the last 2 years. And, we're freaking out over 1 week. I think there's a 2-year sample size to say you shouldn't freak out about Olave. So I'll take JT and Olave side of this personally.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And I think that's... Oh, no, we do have more super chats here.
Yes, we do.
So, once again, going through the super chats and we're going in order, it said, who dropped for waiver wise? Chase Brown, Ingram, Dak, Fields. Well, out of all these guys, it would most likely be Chase Brown. But for me, this is a 1 quarterback league. Depending on... Let's just say you have I don't know. You have Lamar, but you have Dak and Fields on your team. I'm dropping those guys.
Yeah, I would drop. I would drop Chase too. But like
if this is
if that's your third quarterback, one of those guys, then you can drop one of those names instead.
Yeah, I'm dropping one of those names instead. So hopefully that helps. Carlos, 10-team PPR. Give up Marvin Harrison Jr. for Olave in a second. I want Marvin Harrison Jr. in a dynasty still.
Oh yeah, definitely keep Marvin for sure. That's a huge overreaction in a dynasty league. Dynasty players are normally pretty disciplined, so that is surprising. All right, guys, we appreciate you big time. Hey, super chats are obviously going to skip the queue. If you guys are going to donate to the channel, of course, we're going to prioritize your questions. Otherwise, we are going to answer questions in order. So the first question from top is Andreezy. Why don't you answer that? I'm going to quickly go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no worries. Dobbins or Mason as priority on waiver wise. I have Ingram as a tight end. Thoughts unlikely long term. So if you didn't hear, we did say that Dobbins is going to be the #1 priority if he is available. We do like Jordan Mason. I like Jordan Mason. I do believe he's going to have a role, but not a role to where he's going to be a startable asset, to week basis. Dobbins does look like the long-term play. So I will be prioritizing J.K. Dobbins there. And we do like likely long-term. At least we like likely. I'm not going to say long-term. He is going to have a role, but I think what we do know from Mark Andrews and the Chiefs is that historically he's never played well against them, and I can see Mark Andrews having a big bounce back game. Cameron, full PPR, flex 2, Smith, Dell, Ladd, Brian Thomas. This would be Devonta Smith and Tank Dell. Jerry Hall, he says Justin Fields, Will Levis, or Demarcus Robinson in the super flex. Full PPR, should I throw in Tank on the super flex? I have Travis Etienne as my RB2 spot already. Honestly, we would always tell you to start a quarterback in that super flex spot. At the end of the day, they always have the highest upside. Justin Fields against the Texans, and then Will Levis against the Jets. For me, this would be Justin Fields. Will Levis against the Jets, you just don't want. I think they're going to have a great bounce back game there for the New York Jets, especially defensively. Jerry says, I have Buffalo's defense. Should I drop nobody to pick up the Chargers defense for the week, or should I drop Buffalo's defense to pick up the Chargers defense? I would drop, if you have an extra spot, I'm picking up the Chargers defense and just waiting to see what happens. He said, thank God I have Mason as a cuff. I love the content as usual, and thank you for everything. It really helps me out. Hey, we appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you so much, man.
By the way, guys, like goal on today's stream is 100 likes. Be a friend if you haven't yet, and smash that like button. We appreciate y'all big time. Super chats get answered straight away. Otherwise, we're going in order. And the next one's from Patrick Mahomey, who says, should I try and drop a Dunze since he's dealing with that injury and pick up Jameson? So this is a good question. To me, rest of the season, I do want Jameson at this point.
Yeah, I do want Jameson at this point as well, especially in an 8-man league. The upside is higher with Jameson. And the quarterback play is there, so you don't have to worry about going through the rookie woes on a week-to-week basis. Jameson, if this opportunity is going to build, you want Jameson on a high upside play.
And Jameson's, if he gets 5 targets per game, that's more valuable in that offense, in that role, than 5 targets per game in a the offense that a Dunze is a part of.
Yeah, the yards after the catch is pretty big for JMO, so that's kind of what you're hoping for. Ultra happy PR. My wide receivers are Lamb and Rice. Need one wide receiver in the flex. This is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. for me. I'm believing in the bounce back.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But Terry could also have a big game. He's playing against the Giants. But also Murray or Daniels. We did say Kyler Murray, but I know you said it was close.
Yeah, it's very close. So back to my rankings, I slightly go Kyler Murray just because there's more long-term evidence of him being a good starter. But it was really. I'm not gonna lie, guys. As a Commanders fan, it was super. We got destroyed, and I had so much fun watching the game. I cannot say that since 2012, genuinely. So that's awesome. Mr. Green says, I'm second on waivers. Who should I pick up first, Mason, Bigsby, or Lazard? This would be Mason, then Bigsby, then Lazard in that order.
Agreed. Completely agree. Brian, he said, fellas, I'm looking to stream some quarterbacks after losing Jordan Love, Purdy, Stafford, Mayfield, Hurts. I would personally say this week, I technically have Baker Mayfield's higher than Matthew Stafford. He's playing the Cardinals.
Okay.
But I actually do like Matthew Stafford this week as well. But at the end of the day, I think the guy that you should always pick up, in my opinion, is going to be Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I agree. He's a clear option for me versus the Vikings.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Lindell. I love it. Should have went with Godwin instead of Kirk. Lindell says, I'm not trying to overreact, guys who underperformed. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Yezer says, start Monty, Aaron Jones, or ETN this week.
We'll start one.
It's funny how that's not an auto, like, ETN now.
ETN.
I actually do think I'm starting Monty over ETN. Is that might be too much of an overreaction, but they both have terrible matchups.
Yeah, I mean, Monty really was struggling. He wouldn't have finished with over double-digit fantasy points if it wasn't for that overtime drive. I don't know if you know that. Like,
he was not struggling in the game. He was struggling for fantasy. He was doing his job.
Yeah,
he was playing well. He looked great. But you're right. This is the reality with David Montgomery is if he doesn't get a touchdown, his ceiling is definitely limited. I might even consider him like a sell high if you want, because in a game versus Tampa Bay, unless you get a touchdown, I don't think he's a good play. So I actually do think this is Travis Etienne, the more I talk this out.
Yeah, Jimmy T just traded for Marvin in Dynasty League. Hopefully I completely agree. That's a great buy low option. Hopefully you got him low. Cheryl, excuse me, which quarterback to play? Jared Goff for 2, and my opponent has Josh Allen. And I do have Tyreek Hill and Devon. I mean, this is a great question. We'll still be going
Goff.
Jared Goff, but Tua could have a huge game against the Bills Thursday night at home.
Tua's a name that regardless of matchup, he could have a huge game literally any week. But I'm gonna go with Jared Goff here versus the Bucks. You know, the Bucks didn't give up many points to wide receivers last week, but that had a lot to do with the game plan against Jaden Daniels. That had a lot to do with Jaden Daniels being a rookie, and you know, I thought he played very conservative, very smart, which we didn't see from the other guys who are rookies.
Yeah,
I'll keep clowning on him. Phoenix, let's go to Phoenix.
Phoenix, 10-team full PPR with CMC, Puka, and Love out. I need some help. Oh my goodness, Zach Charbonnet, Chuba, Dontavian, Schultz. So for me, I'm looking at the quarterback first.
First off, can we just say I'm so sorry? Fantasy should not be that painful to have CMC, Puka, and Love all out. That's insane. So first off, I'm sorry, that absolutely sucks. But let's answer these questions. It has to be Zach Moss.
Yeah, it's Zach Moss for me for sure. I don't think you can flex
any of those other names. I really don't.
I mean, no, maybe Tank Bigsby's on the waiver wires. Pick him up. Maybe
there are like 50 names I could think of starting over these other names.
Well, I mean, go pick up Wanda Robinson.
Yep.
You know, like Greg you said, if Greg Dortch or Justice Hill's on the waiver wires, I mean, maybe
yes,
I would rather take a shot on him.
In a 10-team league, you have to start Wicks or Hubbard. There's just no way that is your best option. But Aki's 100% correct here. There's just so many other options that you should consider.
At the quarterback position though, Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins for you. I personally have Kirk Cousins. Monday night against the Eagles, it's tough. And
that's probably
Trevor
the right
Lawrence
move, but Kirk looked kind of cooked, man. Watching that game back, he did not move in the pocket pretty much at all. Like,
I just think there was no flow in that game.
There was no flow, but I think a lot of it was on him. Like, he didn't look healthy. He truly did not look ready to play football. He looked like someone who was dealing with an injury and had literally no mobility, no opportunity to extend the play, which is why Bijan Robinson got more targets than the tight end or the wide receivers. So I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence there just because I now have put Kirk in the zone of I need to see it.
I understand. Hopefully that helps. Thank you.
From Sheldon. So Sheldon's jumping the queue here with this donation. Appreciate you, Sheldon. Guys, if you want to jump the queue, super chat's an option. Otherwise, we're going in order. And Sheldon says, yo, should I start James Cook and play Jerome Ford and Brian Robinson? And play Jaden Reed in my flex, or start James Cook and play Ford in my flex? So basically the question is Reed or Brian Robinson in the flex is the way I'm reading it. Should I start James Cook and play Jerome Ford and Brian Robinson and play Reed in my flex, or start James Cook and play Ford in my flex? Man, this is a confusing one to...
Okay, I need to read this out loud. Should I sit James Cook and play Jerome Ford? I'm just going to answer that question. Should I sit James Cook and play Jerome Ford and Brian Robinson? So, like,
Just don't super chat again, Sheldon, but just tell us like I need to start this many players between these names.
So
because this is a little confusing.
It looks like it's RB1. He's saying out of James Cook and Jerome Ford and Brian Robinson, I need to start 2 out of those guys.
Let's just do this, okay? I'm gonna rank these guys in order of how I would play them. James Cook, okay. Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford, Jaden Reed. Okay, in that order. Cook, Robinson, Ford, Reed, in that order for me.
Yes.
Reed would be last, essentially.
Agreed.
Okay. We're on.
Yeah, agreed. Hopefully that helps. Let us, like I said, don't let us know if we clarified or if we answered that question right, Sheldon. But you don't have to super chat again. But thank you so much, guys. If you want to skip the queue, drop a super chat. If not, we're going back to the top, and Bryce is next. So I trade Joe Burrow for Jaden Daniels' 4-point passing touchdown. I still want Joey Burr, but like I'm not mad at you.
I sent this trade to Avery in the Flock League. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and yes, there is bias here because I'm a Commanders fan. I'll be honest. I'll be 100% honest and transparent, Badaki. As soon as that draft ended, you know for sure I wanted to get Jaden Daniels in that draft, right? As soon as the draft ended, I had instant regrets that I didn't get Jaden Daniels. And I told Avery this. I sent him a trade in the Flock League. We'll see if he replies. But yeah, I would view Jaden Daniels as the locked and loaded top 8 quarterback rest of the season.
I still think Joe Burrow's gonna have a great season. I think week 1. I don't know if you. I saw this tweet, and it was like Joe Burrow in the last like 2-3 years for fantasy has started off terrible. And the Bengals have also started, I feel like the last 2 to 3 years 0-2.
Yeah, they are like, growers, not showers.
Literally. So like that's why I say I still trust Joe Burr, but I wouldn't be upset at you if you wanted Jaden Daniels. Bryce also said Garrett Wilson or Kyron Williams PPR. This is Kyron Williams. Garrett Wilson. Excuse me. Rest of season for me.
Garrett Wilson versus Kyron Williams rest of season. Yeah. Yeah, I would say Garrett Wilson for sure. I mean, look, there's a lot of victory lapping Kyron right now, which is interesting because he was so inefficient. Now, it was versus the Lions defense. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. And Sean McVay did come out after the game and he said, hey, we don't actually want to do that. We want Blake Corum in there. We want Ronnie Rivers in there. So we'll see if that changes. But I agree. Wilson is a safer player the rest of the year.
How shit is it, though? Like, he's always... Oh, now it's Ronnie? You didn't say a word about Ronnie all off season.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't know. I don't know what all the interviews he's had, you know. We have a super chat here from Big Al. So he is skipping the queue. Appreciate you, man. He says Drake or Godwin in a standard league. Standard league. No PPR. PPR. You know, Godwin Drake has a great matchup.
Great, and that's where I'm going. I'm going Drake London based off the matchup. It is standard league. Hopefully he finds the end zone or he gets those yardage that you're hoping for. Godwin does have a tougher matchup, even though they were getting torched in the air. With
I like
Cooper
the
Kupp.
matchup for Godwin. That could be a high scoring game.
I do like that matchup for Godwin as well. I'm still going Drake London. I still believe in him. It was week 1. Yeah. I believe in Kirk Cousins, so that's where I'm going.
No PPR. Yeah, I'm going to have to lean Drake London. I mean, we know how good he can be yardage-wise. Anthony, appreciate the donation, man. He's skipping the queue. He says, full PPR, start 2, bench 1, Olave, London, Metcalf. That is like this whole group. Anthony, you basically just named 3 wide receivers that massively disappointed in week 1 that I have in the same exact tier in week 2 heading into week 2. Yeah, this is really like flip a coin type vibes, but I would go Olave and I would go Metcalf. For Olave, I expect a huge negative game script. I do not think the Saints are going to be up in this game. I think they're going to need Olave. I think we have a bounce back. A guy who's averaged over 8 targets per game in 2 years. For Metcalf, I think this is a bounce back week for him versus the New England Patriots. And then with London, you can make the case as well because the matchup's pretty good versus the Eagles. But oddly enough, I trust Kirk Cousins less than these other names at quarterback right now. Just I need to see him perform a little bit better. So for me, it's very close, but that's my rationale in going Olave in London or Olave and Metcalf there.
For me, this would be London and Metcalf.
Okay.
The Cowboys held Amari Cooper to 3 points. He got 9 targets, but that's like Olave is going to get the targets, but I feel like he's going to be shut down, in my opinion. So give me London and Metcalf. I think their ceiling is higher this week. Don't worry with the super chat. Excuse me, third super chat says we appreciate you. He said likely Worthy, Dobbins, or Olave for non PPR. Non PPR, it has to be the running back. What do you think? I feel like in a standard league, guy, I feel like the running back with opportunities is most likely the way it should go. But I can understand it being a tough decision. Worthy got 2 touchdowns last week. Likely got a touchdown last week.
Yeah, that's almost impossible to answer. But yeah, that's very difficult to answer. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's tough. Wow. So no PPR is involved. Like if PPR, it's Olave easily for me.
Like Worthy means something with no PPR because he can get those jet sweeps. But it's like,
Marquise Brown back this week?
That's a great question. Hollywood, let me have a look. What's going on with you, Hollywood?
It's funny, like every website has his name different now.
Yeah, right.
It's moving in the right direction, nearing a return to the field. If Hollywood Brown is back this week, it could really throw some cold water on this Xavier Worthy fire. Look,
yeah, I'm gonna go Dobbins. I'm going Dobbins.
Would it surprise you if Gus Edwards had 2 touchdowns this week?
No, it would not.
That's what concerns me, dude. I'm gonna go Olave still, unless Marquise Brown is out. We'll go Worthy, but we'll go Olave right now without knowing that.
I can understand that. Omar, thank you so much for the super chat. He says start 2 PPR Neighbors, Pittman, Connor, DJ, Moore.
Ooh,
my goodness,
question, man. Very tough question. Is that James Conner? I assume.
I think.
Wow, what a difficult question to answer. I think Neighbors is a clear start for me versus my Commanders, who are. I said this all last week. The worst secondary in the NFL. I think everyone believes me now. Yeah, we'll take that prize. Number 1 worst secondary in the NFL. Well, at least we're number 1 in something.
At least we're number 1 in something.
I think Connor's the safest play outside of those other 2 names.
Connor does feel like the safest play. I lean DJ because of 2 things. Keenan Allen might not be there, and same thing with Rome Odunze. Who is Caleb Williams going to throw the ball to? You tell me.
Well, what if I told you had 94 yards last week? That was a rough debut, man. That was rough.
Look, and DJ's playing the Texans, so it's going against Stingley, so that's going to be a really tough matchup as well. I'm going to go Neighbors and Connors with you. I would agree, but it's tough. Really close with DJ.
I'll be honest, with Pittman, Connor, and DJ, it is tough, but I'm going to go Neighbors and Connor there. Great question, Omar. Appreciate you, man. All right, we got a super chat from Race Mode, and this is Race Mode's first super chat on the channel. We appreciate you, man. Very, very kind of you. So his question is Zeke, Mostert, or Swift for RB2. It really was the touchdown that saved Zeke. Mostert is really the start here if Achane misses time.
I agree.
And if Achane plays, I think it's Swift.
Yeah, if Achane plays, it's Swift. If Achane doesn't play and Mostert plays, it's Mostert, of course.
Yeah.
If not, you go DeAndre. If both of those guys don't play in Achane and Mostert, you go DeAndre Swift over Zeke.
I would agree, but that's a tough one, and I hope that answer is helpful. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on the stream. We got a like goal of 100 likes. We're only 20 likes away, so be a friend and smash that like button. Let's get to 100 all together. We are answering questions from top to bottom in order, so the super chats are the ones that obviously get priority, but the next question in order is from Harrison. He says, should I trade 10 fab for Blake Corum? Starting amount is 200. To me, if someone's willing to trade Blake Corum for 10 fab, Badaki, It sounds like Blake Corum's about to be a free agent anyway.
Why
Do you know
not?
what I mean?
I mean,
like,
I agree. I agree.
So,
I would just say, like, if you want to secure him, just spend the fab because you don't have to go through waivers.
That's fair.
And then somebody else is gonna someone see Blaze Corum and spend 20 and you put 10, you'd be pissed off.
Yeah. Well,
you didn't just get Blake Corum.
It sounds like you could counter for 5. Like, if this person's sending a $10 fab trade for Blake Corum, why would he accept 5? So, yeah, I'd be super open to it. Donald says, good evening, fellas. I know it's early, but start Kyler or Daniels. We'll go Kyler. It's very close. Daniels or Burrow? Yep. I'm going Daniels.
I'm going Burrow still. I'm going Burrow.
G Particle says, honestly, though, like, genuinely, every time you say that, it makes me feel happier because I have Burrow in the flock league. I want you to be right. I'm so nervous.
I want to be right as well, but anyways, got a Joku first on waiver wires, pick up Likely or Mason, then go.
This would be likely.
Cody Parkinson. Yeah, this would be likely as well. We did get a super chat.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Night Wave here. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. He says, should I keep my team as is for this week? Quarterback Jaden Daniels, running back Etienne Stevenson, wide receiver 1 and 2 is AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Laporta, and you have Flex as Lad. I mean, yes, it just really depends on who are your other options on your bench. If you're telling me you have another running back on your bench, if you have another wide receiver that's not named Devonta Smith, maybe. Like,
if I was facing this team this week, I would be scared. I would be absolutely scared. So, by the way, Chargers, great streaming option. Hopefully I had a part to play in the waiver wire video, but yes, I would be scared of this team if I was facing it. So I think you've done a great job, man. You should feel very, very good about it. And he also says, love your channel and helping me this season. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
Vidaki, I just got a DM from someone. And I noticed that they were being followed by Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. And I was like, whoa.
Is this on Twitter?
Can I, no, on Instagram. I was like, could I potentially interest this guy in exchange for advice for a ticket or something? You know, like, how do you know these guys?
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. Like, that would be my biggest, like, if you could go to dinner with someone, it would be like the Thunder. Like,
it would be the Thunder.
Jalen, Dort. That's who I would go to dinner with. Anyway. I thought that was weird.
That's awesome. No, I thought that was cool. I mean, it's cool. It's weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Back to the top. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. If not, we're going in order. Start 2 out of Ford, Monty Martin Harrison. It'll be Monty Martin Harrison for me. But Ford loves his work. That's kind of what I was expecting. A negative game script. He's getting those opportunities in the air. And he does find the end zone at the end there. So for me, it would still be the other 2 guys, but I like Jerome Ford, no doubt.
That's fine. Yeah. Waiver priority unlikely, he says, or Jordan Mason if I have Andrews on my team already. Man, I'll be honest. I feel like the people who are picking up likely who have Andrews, I think there's a possibility. I'm not going to say I'm right, but there's a possibility each and every week they're frustrated not knowing which way it's going. But I think likely is still the number 1 pickup.
Yeah, I would still go likely personally. Like I said, I think Mason has a role, but not a role that would be more significant than likely.
Goddard or Parkinson, Badaki? I'm just going to quickly say Parkinson here.
I'm saying Parkinson as well.
With no Puka confirmed. I love him as a pickup this week.
Completely agree. We did get a super chat. Another one, by the way. Chris Featherston. 12 team, start 11, super flex trade, CMC. Sorry. 12 team, start 11, super flex traded CMC, Dortch, and Gus for Flowers, Tony Pollard, in a mid-second. And I have Godwin still. I have Jacobs and Gibbs. And Godwin, yeah. And I have Jacobs and Gibbs and Samir White.
So this isn't super flex then, or wait, this isn't Dynasty. This is Dynasty, right?
I'm not necessarily. Well, it must be Dynasty because he's traded mid-second.
I don't think I would have done this in Dynasty.
I'd still want CMC. I know he's injured right now. Chris, maybe you started panicking, saying I need to get another running back. I don't know what you thought, but at the end of the day, CMC can miss 4 games and still outscore all those players that you just got in return.
So I think if CMC, when he comes back and he's healthy, I think he still averages around 20 points per game. And I think in season, let's say week 8 or something, you probably could have gotten 1 or 2 firsts instead of that package. I love Godwin. I was pro Godwin all offseason. But in Dynasty, there's definitely expiry date there. We don't know where he's going to play next year. Pollard is not someone that I feel comfortable building around in Dynasty. You got Zay Flowers, so at least you got a young receiver, so that's reason to be hopeful. You need Zay Flowers to truly break out in fantasy football for this to be worth it. And if he does, great. Then Zay Flowers will be a top 20 wide receiver in Dynasty. Those wide receivers in Dynasty are always more difficult to get your hands on. Now, it is a start 11, so you can see in a start 11 that probably was a little bit more intriguing to him to be able to start Godwin, to be able to get Flowers. So look, overall, I think you could have gotten more for CMC if you were patient. But look, if this is the end of the beginning of the end for CMC, then you did well. I just don't think it is personally. But I mean, hopefully you guys come to our channel for honesty. We might not always say exactly what you want to hear, but we'll always be honest. All right, we got a super chat here from Demetrios. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. He says, I need more depth for running back position. Solid RB3. I have Monty, Isaiah Pacheco, and Gus Edward, McLaughlin, Jalen Warren. I'm not willing to trade away Monty Pacheco. Who should I target? Well, if you're trying to target another running back, just trying to get some running back depth, it's going to be kind of difficult to try and target some of these players that I'll probably mention. But, I like the name like Ramondre Stevenson. I like the name Jerome Ford. He had a decent week. I don't know if you like Aaron Jones. You can go out and get him. Brian Robinson, you can go out and get him. Travis Etienne just had a down week. I think a lot of people are a little bit concerned. I still would try and get him on the low if you possibly can. I don't know if you want to go out and get a James Conner or Kenneth Walker. How you can go out and acquire those guys. Unless you just want a lower tier type of running back. Like, do you want to go even deeper? And that's what she said. Do you want to get like...
To me, the answer here is not a trade. Do you want to know why? Because if you're not willing... He said, I don't want to trade Monty or Pacheco. Great. Yeah, I don't want to either. But nobody wants the players that you have on your team with Gus Edwards, McLaughlin, or Warren. So, quite frankly, you can't make a trade anyway. So to me, if I was in your position and I wanted to prove that spot, I would be hitting up the waiver wire. Thinking about names like a Bucky Irving, for example. I'm going to have a stash video coming out maybe tomorrow for you guys, but Bucky Irving comes to mind. I'd stash Marshawn Lloyd. At least you have Jaleel McLaughlin. That's a pretty common stash right now. I'd stash Kendre Miller and put him on my IR if I could. Keaton Mitchell on the IR if I could. I'd try and go get a name like Dobbins if he's there. Probably not, but another name like Tank Bigsby, Justice Hill. Try and hit through the waiver wire, because the reality is, if you don't want to sell those names, I agree. You're not. There's no value anywhere else. Yeah.
But those are some names. Obviously, we both target depending on how you want to package. Maybe you have another wide receiver out there that you feel like you don't believe in. You want to package that person and Gus Edwards to see where you can get. Hopefully that helps. We appreciate you. Appreciate you, Demetrio.
I just want to quick fire through some of these top questions because we're about to lose them entirely. I'm not even going to be able to click on them. So real quick with Kyle.
Okay, sure.
He says, Higgins, Swift, Brian Thomas. What's the question? Do I need to drop any to get likely? Chase Brown is who I would drop. Pick 3, Mixon, JT, Achane, Rashad White, Derrick Henry. For me, this would be Henry, Achane, and JT, but it's close. Yes, I think those players will rebound. Death Lord, Goff or Caleb. I'm going Goff.
Yep.
We'll go likely over Washington personally. Oh wait, if Brian Robinson's on the waiver, get Brian Robinson. Do I drop Love for likely? You totally can if it's a 1 quarterback league, and just stream the position. All right, we got some super chats here. Let's get to
Ben.
First one from
Morgan.
Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah, we appreciate you. 12-team PPR. I have Kyler, Brees, Devon, Kupp, Martin Harrison, Neighbors, Muth is likely a priority. How much fab? League mates are pretty conservative. Well, yes, likely it's a priority. You clearly have Pat Fry, Muth, who you definitely need, but at the same time, what's the running back situation look like as a 12 team? Who's on the waiver wires? Because if Devon's going to miss time, who else do you have there at that running back position? So there's two different ways that you can prioritize this. And it's just tough.
If Pat Fryermuth is your starting tight end, I am willing to splash the cash.
Yeah,
and it could not pan out. It could totally not pan out. But what if it does? What if it does? Like, the reason I'm not going hard on likely in my leagues is because I have starting tight ends I feel good with. Like, I have a McBride, I have a Kincaid. I feel good about those guys moving forward. I have a Pitts or whoever it might be, Laporta, whatever. But if I drafted Pat Fryermuth and I knew likely was on the waiver wire, I probably would spend 30% of my fab. If I knew I had to spend 35 or 40, I might be willing to do that, knowing that it could not work out, but knowing that if it does, it will be a huge game changer for me and maybe win me a championship. So, to me, I would splash the cash in that scenario where Pat's my starter.
Yeah, I like that question. Thank you so much, Ben, for your super chat. Guys, if you want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. If not, we're going in order. It's Ocho. Half PPR wide receivers are Lamb and Collins and Rice in the flex. Would you swap any of these bench wide receivers in the flex? No, I'm starting those guys personally. Start Lamb, Collins, and Waddle.
I can't even see that question anymore. So just quick fire through.
No worries. Akshay, start one PPR. London, Reed, McConkey, Amari, Brian Thomas. For me, this would be. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's London. I just want to check where I have Amari and Brian Thomas. For me, it's London.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
okay with that. Yeah. Sit to Marv, Waddle, DK, Ford, or Godwin. I would be sitting Ford and.
For me, this would be Ford and Godwin.
Yeah, probably. Worthy or Harrison for my flex. I'm still starting Marvin. Is Godwin to sell high? Not in my opinion. This is someone I believed in coming into the year, but. I guess it depends on your conviction. Do you think he's going to be? He's not going to do this every week, but I think he's going to have plenty of games where he does just what he did. I think he will have multiple games over 20. I think he'll be a 14 points per game scorer type of player in PPR. So to me, that's someone I want to keep. But if you can sell him high and get an Ayuk or a Marvin Harrison, then yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I think if you sell him high, it depends on what you get. No Sanaba was offered Worthy for Neighbors.
You take Neighbors there. You take the Neighbors.
Yeah, you take Neighbors. Yeah. Who would you want to start in the flex?
We got a super chat here.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to that.
Jung Thank you for the donation.
Love that.
Super chats do skip the queue. We appreciate you big time, my man. He says, I drafted Parkinson last round, but thinking about picking up Likely, it's going to be expensive picking him up, but I have empty slots on my bench. Should I pick him up or go ahead with Parkinson rest of season? So in this scenario, I would spend a conservative 25 to 30% of my fab. And if I miss out, okay, I missed out. I have Parkinson. In this scenario, I'm not spending like that 35, 40% of my fab to get Likely. I'm going to play it conservative. If I win, great. I have great options. But if not, at least I still have my fab moving forward for whatever moves I want to make.
Yeah, completely agree. And then Parkinson should have a decent role, especially with Puka Nacua being out for the next 4 weeks. Apparently he's going on IR. So he has a role there. At least we hope so.
Yep.
Back to the top, it was Mark. It said, who should I start in the flex, Dobbins or Hopkins? This would be Dobbins for the both of us. You let me know.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I don't think Hopkins is startable right now. I'm getting close to that with Ridley at this point, to be honest with you, but it's only week 1, so I don't want to overreact. Najee or Brian? I'll go Brian in a PPR format.
Agreed.
DK Palmer, Shakir, DK.
Agreed.
I think we already answered Celeris.
We answered this.
As a super chat.
Yeah, I think so.
We got another super chat from Demetrios. He says, appreciate you, fellas. Appreciate you, man. Always.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Coming
always
through
on the stream, showing support. You didn't get offended when we said your name wrong. I appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. And, of course, we're trying our best. Demetrios. Appreciate you, man. Very kind. All right, Tiago's the next one.
Start 2, Devon, Mixon, Pacheco, right, non-PPR. Non-PPR, this is Mixon and Pacheco.
Yeah.
Joe Money bags with 33 opportunities last week, the most in the NFL. I mean, shoot.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe.
Brandon says, would you trade Amon-Ra and Derrick Henry for Jamar Chase and Kyron Williams? Yeah, I would. I would take the Kyron Williams side of that. Although I do think Derrick Henry bounces back.
Yeah, I think this is a knock for me. I think both of those guys bounce back. Amon-Ra, Derrick Henry. Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, I think we're really close. I've always had Derrick Henry over Kyron. I guess they were close as well. So I think that's an even trade for me. Hardness, should I drop Chase Brown for Madison on waiver wise? I personally want Chase Brown still, but it just depends on how you feel about Madison.
That's a gut call. I have no strong opinion on it. Kirk, Tank Dell, or Godwin. What I would do is I would keep Chase Brown, by the way, but you make a decision for yourself. Kirk, Tank Dell, or Godwin, full PPR.
This is Tank Dell for me.
You're going Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do slightly go Tank as well, especially if Rome is gonna miss. Wait, that doesn't matter for this team.
He plays the Bears.
Yeah.
So.
Congrats, Badaki, on the win. Sorry to hear you lost, Zach. Should I trade Debo for Kupp? Yeah, give me Kupp easily.
Yeah, I agree there.
By the way, I'm buying high on Cooper Kupp if you guys can. I got him ranked as a top 5 receiver rest of the way.
Top 5, baby. Talk it up. No, actually, I think we answered this. We said Brian Thomas. Robert in full PPR. What's Mason's value? I was all for the Jags. Thomas wide receiver, too low for an offer. No, I'm taking Brian Thomas.
Ooh,
Jordan
yes,
Mason.
Definitely take that before a report comes out that, like, if a report comes out that Christian McCaffrey's playing this week, you'll get nothing.
By the way,
the fact that you can get Brian Thomas, you do that in a heartbeat.
Did you see the reports with like Jordan Mason and how like he said he knew he was going to start on Friday, and he basically knew that on Friday, and like he must have not gotten the email say, do not say you knew that you were going to start on Friday.
Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of legal implications behind that, and this team is definitely going to be fined.
He got in the locker room, and coach was like, "You said Friday? You're an idiot." Well, coach ripped at him.
I don't know if you saw Coach Speak Index. They put up a tweet about it, and I was up already because you guys were all sleeping at that time. But it's hilarious because I felt like this meme was perfect. Basically, Kyle Shanahan came out and said, the person who knows that CMC won't play in week 2 must be God, because we just found out that he wasn't playing today. I said, we just found out he wasn't playing today. You sure about that? You sure about that? We just found out he was playing today? I don't know about that, brother. Yeah, I think he's just covering his ass. I think they knew.
I mean, yeah, and Jordan Mason was like, you see, this is why I don't like talking to media, because like I said something that I shouldn't have said. Like he fucked up, to be honest, and he never talks to media because
they messed up because they should have prepped him better if they knew.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and he didn't get prepped, and that's why he was upset. And now, anyways, that's a whole another thing. Half PPR. Who should I start in my flex? T, Pierce, Madison, Bigsby, or Worthy? If T Higgins plays, I'm starting T Higgins. I don't know his update right now. Actually, let me have
Alec Pierce is not startable, guys. Don't fall for that trap. This would be Higgins, absolutely. If not Higgins and he doesn't play, then you're right. Worthy is the guy to play.
Yeah, Worthy is the gut play.
Just a reminder, guys, if you're watching the stream and you're like, why haven't they gotten to my question? We are going in order from top to bottom. All right, so just trying to prioritize all of you guys the same way. The only way that we go out of order is if there's a super chat. Of course, if people are going to donate, we'll prioritize their questions. But the next one's from James. He says, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Harrison, Reed, Godwin, or Dobbins. This is Marvin Harrison and Godwin for me if it's PPR.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree there. Less baguettes. So I got a trade question. Someone offered me Nico and Rashee Rice for Jamar Chase. My other 2 receivers are neighbors and Ayuk. I want Nico and Richie Rich here.
Yeah, it's not even close for me. Nico and Rashee Rice. It's not even close.
Yeah, no question.
We got a super chat here from JJ, so he's skipping the queue. He says, trade for Pacheco and Tyreek Hill for Bijan and Kupp. I want Bijan and Kupp here.
Bijan and Kupp. I think it's a huge upgrade to Bijan Robinson, Tyreek Hill, and Cooper Kupp. It's much, even though I don't have him as high as Zach, I still think that's a decent floor.
Yeah. The only way this doesn't work out for you is if Kupp gets injured, but we can't predict that. No one really knows. I mean, there will be players that the reality is, guys, it's been 1 week. And the unfortunate part of this all is that players that are on your team right now, they will be injured. But
maybe we should
predict it. We have no idea how to predict it.
A super serum so nobody gets injured and we just sell it to the league every year. What do you think? Just be millionaires.
Well, would the super serum only improve bone density, or
The
would
super
it give them
serum?
superpowers?
No, the super serum would only improve, would guarantee a 0% chance of injury
So
every
we're in
week.
Madden and we're turning injuries off.
Yeah, we're exactly. And
I'm
if
totally
we can
fine with
sell that
that.
to the players
Totally fine with
every
that.
week.
What I just don't want to happen is we get motherfuckers jumping 30 feet in the air and over everybody into the end zone. Okay.
Yeah, we won't get that. Not in the super
Totally
serum.
fine with the idea. I think Ian
Thank you so
Coleman.
much for that super chat. Yeah, Ian Coleman. Hello, gents. Start one full PPR. Martin Harrison, Chris Godwin, Tank Dell. This is a good question. I think it's closer than we think. With Martin Harrison, at least with me and Tank Dell, I personally have Martin Harrison higher than Tank Dell.
Well, you got to sit one.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sitting Chris Godwin. So that means I'm starting Martin Harrison and Tank Dell.
So I was super high on Godwin last week, and now I'm like sitting here like, man, am I now too low on him rest of season? Like, should I, am I not reacting enough to even me putting him up my rankings, you know? If he got 8 targets in a positive game script. But then you look at 8 targets from Tank Dell and you're like, surely it's going to pan out for Dell soon. So
yeah,
I do sit Godwin here, but man, it's so close. It really is. We got a super chat from Emmanuel Sauced. He's sauced up and donating. Appreciate you, man. He is skipping the queue here. He says, y'all are awesome. Thoughts on my bench? We got right here Godwin, Devonta Smith, Will Levis, Likely, and Mitchell. Any thoughts on starting Likely? I got Andrews. This is the exact position I do not want to be in. I do not want to be in this spot where I have to choose between Andrews and Likely.
You know what you should do? Sell Likely to the Jake Ferguson owner.
I probably would try and sell Likely. I'm not even going to lie to you. I like Emmanuel, whatever your conviction is, we can tell you what we think. We can't predict the future. But whatever your conviction is in this tight end room, if you think Andrews is completely cooked, can you sell him? If you think Likely is, you know, if Andrews is actually going to be good and it's just an off week, can you sell Likely high and improve the rest of your roster? So, because here's the issue. If you wait one more week and Andrews is him again, you'll miss out on a sell high opportunity. If you wait one more week and Likely goes off again, then you'll have no chance to sell Andrews. So you kind of like, it's a little bit like blackjack. You're kind of risking it a little bit here, but
put it all on black, baby.
Love that you have right there. Love Godwin, Smith, Levis is it, unless it's a super flex league. There's no way I'm rostering him.
Yeah,
it probably is super flex if he's saying Will Levis.
Overall, I think the bench is decent. You know, Wright could even play a role this week.
To be honest, hold on. Sorry. He just said he got offered McBride for Likely.
Brother, you need to stop what you're doing. Get off of this right now and go accept that.
My friend, run to wherever you're playing, whatever platform, and hit accept right now.
You need get off the stream, please. I need you to go do that.
Yes, please go hit accept. But overall, it's a good squad. Hey, by the way, Will Levis, did you know more commercials about mayonnaise than passing touchdowns? That's a real stat.
That's a real stat. Hey, you know, hey, Daniel Jones, since he got signed, more touchdowns to opposing teams than since he signed the contracts.
That's a real stat. That's a real
stat.
All right, we appreciate
Thank you so much
y'all.
for the super chat, man.
Yeah, thanks for the donations, guys. The next question in order that's not a donation is from Andrew, I think. Is that right? Is that what you have?
We answered that though. It's Brian Thomas, Tanner. It said just traded Keon Coleman, Travis Etienne for Josh Jacobs and Michael Pittman Jr.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that as well. I think I'd rather have Josh Jacobs and Michael Pittman. Brandon, would you trade a Monroe and Derrick Henry for Jamar? We answered that.
Yep.
Should I pick up Bigsby? Yep. I think
if he's the best option, go watch the waiver wire video we released on the channel. But if he's the best option, sure. Half PPR, Javonte, Ridley, or Brian. I'm going Brian. Ooh, let me double check that. Actually,
I'm going Brian. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah, I just realized Ridley is playing the Jets.
Ridley's playing the Jets, so it's freaking GG's for 2 weeks for Calvin.
Would you start Calvin or Demarcus Robinson this week?
Demarcus Robinson.
How crazy is that? Wow.
Next minute, Will Levis comes out and is like the best player against the Jets. Or maybe the Jets defense is not as good as we think. That's what I was thinking yesterday. I was
They're
like,
good, man.
either it's not as good as we think, or the 49ers are just it's just Kyle Shanahan, really.
Yeah, he's just that dude. Olave, start or sit or start. You start Olave if he's your best option. Don't overthink it. Yep. What's up, Matt? Matt Mason said you told pack of lies. Curse you boy, Zeke is better than Dowdle. Okay. Back week 1, Puka, St. Brown, McLaurin, Ingram. Ouch. It's okay. You can recover from this.
That's okay.
Omar
we did get a super chat, by the way,
okay.
for Demetrios. Thank you so much again. He said
Metcalf or now that we're on Omar, I don't want to lose place here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's just quickly say this would be Mason if he starts. Otherwise, Vlad over Moss for me.
Agreed.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Metcalf or Godwin this week, non-PPR. This is still for me, DK Metcalf.
Non-PPR.
Yeah, but I understand how that's a tough question. Augusto, he said Rashad White, Ford in London for Barkley and Flowers. Rashad White, Ford in London for Barkley and Flowers. I already have Kamara and Hall. I ultimately I want Saquon Barkley here, but if this is like a star 8, I want Saquon. If this is star 10, maybe Wright, Ford in London is better off because of the depth that you need.
I'm gonna rock with you there. I'll rock with you.
Start Kincaid over Goddard, no doubt about it. Yeah. If Higgins doesn't play, who should I start the flex? Austin Eckler or Tyler Lockett? Gosh, I personally still want to start Tyler Lockett over an Austin Eckler, but I mean it's not nice.
I think I would just go ahead and put Eckler in there versus your Giants.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think I still like the targets from Tyler Lockett. 13 points last week, saw 7 targets. I'm gonna rock.
Can he please just go away though? Can Lockett please just go away? Thank you for your service. Please stop being relevant. Ryan says full PPR. I have Zamir as my RB2. I have Zeke on my bench. Should I start Zeke? Yeah, I'm not starting Zamir at all this week. Did not go the way we thought it would. He was supposed to be a volume play, and he didn't even get the volume. So
I have him in one league, and I wasn't on Zamir White, but I pumped running backs, and then obviously since we're in so many leagues, I was like, let me get a share in Zamir White, and I regret it so much.
It's not looking good so far, but we'll have to wait and see. Target Madison or McLaughlin on waivers.
I still want Jaleel McLaughlin. I think it's pretty clear that Javonte is not Javonte in my eyes. I know Jaleel didn't look good last week, but he had more attempts than Javonte last week, and he had more targets than Javonte last week. So
I'm not anti that idea. I'm just concerned that I don't even know if we really want any running back in Denver. That might be my main concern.
And I think I would agree potentially because Bo Nix and how he was rushing. I guess a lot. He was always running up in the pocket. He wasn't dumping down to the running back as often, even though Jaleel got 5 targets. But
Yeah, to me, in order, it would be Madison, McLaughlin, but I will put Zamir ahead of both of those names still if you're choosing a waiver spot. Coleman or Reed at flex. I'm going to go Keon Coleman this week over Reed, considering he has Malik Willis playing. What about you?
It's hard to not. I'm going to go Jaden Reed.
What if I told you if Malik Willis scores a touchdown this week, it will be history? He has never scored a touchdown in the NFL. He has a 0 to 3 touchdown to interception ratio.
How many games has Willis actually played though? Like started? I don't think he's ever
like
started a game.
4 or 5. He's definitely started games. It's like 4 or 5, something around that.
I'm still gonna go Jaden Reed. The way that I'm seeing this with Reed is that it's not gonna be a crazy upside, but I think if he can get 10 points to 11 points, I think they're gonna do a lot of dump off passes. I think they're gonna do a lot of jet sweeps, kind of like what we saw last week where he scored a touchdown. That's kind of where I'm hoping, but I can understand why you want to start Keon Coleman.
We got some super chats here, so they will skip the queue. The first one's from Leroy. By the way, Daniel, we're gonna get to yours too, but your message is retracted, man. So let us know what the question was. Leroy says trade was sent to me for HN Coleman. Offer was either Chase Moss or Kupp Moss. Okay, so basically Jamar Chase and Zach Moss, or Cooper Kupp and Zach Moss for HN Coleman. I'm not even close to interested in that, to be honest with you.
Like, you don't want the Kupp or Moss or Chase Moss side over HN and Coleman?
No, I don't want the HN Coleman side.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say because I want Chase and Kupp, the Chase or Kupp side.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree on the same page.
Zach Moss and Cooper Kupp. There's no way I'm considering HN Coleman there. And it's like HN could be the RB1, but Keon Coleman is just where things fall apart for me. And ultimately, the best player in all these deals is Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, completely agree there. Daniel, thank you so much for dropping that, man. He said Xavier Worthy or Amari Cooper. He said, sorry trying to figure out this super chat thing. Love the channel. Thank you both. Thank you so much, Daniel. For me, this would be Amari Cooper. Had 9 targets last week, going against a really tough defense. He's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. I need to see it again from Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy was a broken play and a jet sweep where he scored a touchdown.
I agree with you. I think that logic holds up. Appreciate you, Daniel. Jose with a super chat. He's skipping the queue. He says Purdy, Lawrence, Fields, or drop one and get Baker. This would be this week Purdy for me of all those options.
This week is Purdy, but I would say this: if this is a super flex league, or I don't know why you would have a 1 quarterback league and you have all these options on your team.
Those guys wouldn't be available on super flex.
Yeah, I would just pick up Baker over Fields. I wasn't big on starting Justin Fields, but Baker Mayfield, my guy, can continue to be another top 10 quarterback if he's playing the way he's going to play this,
Well, he played the Commanders. We got to keep that in mind. We have to remember that.
It is week 1.
I'm still going to put Fields over Baker if Fields plays.
I understand.
I don't know if I can see the latest question that's not super chat, so go with it. I can't see it.
I see Likely or Kincaid. We both go Kincaid. You let me know.
Yeah.
The guy I'm facing has CMC, wondering if I should go get Mason.
Yes.
If he's on your waiver wires, go get him. Tommy says, with love out, pick up Herbert versus Panthers or Baker versus the Lions. For me, this would be Baker. Even though Herbert has a phenomenal matchup, what do you think?
I'm gonna let you answer all these questions because I can't see.
You can't see it.
So just fire through it.
I'm going Baker and then Pollard or Brian Robinson. I am going Brian Robinson. Don't love the matchup for Pollard. Should I start McCaffrey for Mixon? Yeah, if McCaffrey doesn't start. Any concerns for JSN? I have not heard much on him in Lockett production. I
think you should remain calm on him. He played in 2 wide receiver sets. He played in more snaps than Lockett. Let's just let a couple weeks play out.
Yeah, let's see. Definitely good. What else? Grind. Which 2 do I start in PPR? Pickens, Harrison, or Pollard? This would be Pickens and Harrison for me. Bryce, trying to sell Diggs, but not sure who to target. Any idea, fellas? Players that I would be selling for Stephon Diggs. Can I get a Drake London? Can I get a DK Metcalf? Can I get a Devonta Smith? Can I get a Chris Godwin or Chris Olave? That's kind of where the guys I would be targeting personally for Stephon Diggs. Standard league start 3: Terry, Dobbins, Spears, Lockett, McConkey, Palmer. You definitely start Jordan Mason if he plays. Then this will be J.K. Dobbins for me, and then this would be Terry against my Giants. Andy says, should I drop George Pickens for a better wide receiver like Jameson Williams or Allen Lazard? You keep George Pickens, but if J-Mo is on the waiver wires, I'm making a priority to pick him up. That's what I would have to say.
I just caught up with you. I'm going to also quick fire through some of these names real fast, okay? Wan'Dale Dobbins, Madison, Dobbins, Pollard or Etienne. We're going Etienne still. Would you drop Palmer for Quentin? No. Thoughts on dropping Zamir for Dobbins? I would drop Zamir for Dobbins. Yes, I would. Zamir for Dobbins. Get Dobbins. JMO, DK, McConkey, or Dobbins at the flex. I'm going DK still here. Jaden or Richardson, you start Anthony Richardson. Brian Thomas or Likely, you start Brian Thomas. That's close, though. Shakir or Allen, I'm going Keenan Allen.
If he plays, I'm going Shakir.
Yeah.
You know,
okay, Cap for Life says, just traded CJ Stroud and Singletary for Josh Allen and Pittman. Will the veto vultures come out? Hopefully not. Panic over Harrison? No. Remain calm. Chuba says start 2, Dobbins, McLaurin, Brian Robinson, and Thomas Jr. We're going to start with Brian Robinson there and J.K. Dobbins, to be honest. Both the running backs. Connor says Najee, Gus Edwards, Alexander Madison. Choose one. We're going to go with Najee Harris there. Jason, Jaden Reed, Drake London. Choose 2. For me, it would be London and Reed. Start Mayfield or Goff week 2. I'm going Goff. Trade J.K. Dobbins and Xavier for Achane. Yes, grab Achane. Mason, Aaron Jones, Zamir, full point PPR. Mason, if he plays, starts. Otherwise, Aaron Jones. Is Shaheed worth a lot of fab? No, he's not worth a lot of fab. He's a free fab pickup, if anything. No fab, priority claim.
We did
London
get super chats, by the way.
Flowers. Yeah, I'm just trying to quickly go through these so we can keep seeing these questions. Thoughts on Jamar Chase? Remain calm. He'll be okay. All right, let's get to these super chats. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dom, thank you so much for the super chat. He says I have Jahmyr Gibbs are running back in one spot at the wire. Should I get Jameson or Mason?
Jameson.
I think I'll be getting Jameson. I would say it really depends on your position, but for me it'll be Jameson. Thoughts on Watson and Cleveland from Daniel said, look, it was a tough matchup. He played terrible. I think this matchup against the Jags could be a little bit easier for him, but you know, I mean, the Cowboys have one of the best defense going, but I'm not expecting big things from Deshaun Watson.
Definitely very low expectations. However, what I would say is, you're not going to always face the Cowboys defense with Zimmer calling up plays. Remain calm, but definitely very low expectations. And Deshaun Watson should not be rostered in one quarterback formats. Mystic Flame says start Taysom Hill with Hawk on IR or Parkinson. I'd start Parkinson personally.
I agree.
Grind City says, which 2 out of Pickens, Harrison, and Pollard do I start in PPR? This would be Marvin.
This would be Pickens and Harrison. Or Pickens and Harrison, yeah, sorry. I think I answered this.
So I love Pickens. You know, we were fine to play him last week. I don't love him this week because he will get the Pat Surtain treatment.
Sure. I don't like Tony Pollard against the Jets, though. That's what I would say.
I definitely get that.
I would try, as much as I don't like Pickens, I think he probably gets 2 spectacular catches. That's probably for 30 yards. Maybe that's 8 points for you.
I'm pretty indifferent on that. Lost Puka to the IR. Should I feel all right starting JMO in the interim? Yeah, that's a fine option. I don't think many people in many leagues would have a better option than that. Elite Team says Ford, Harris, Dell, Pollard, Brian Thomas, full PPR for my flex. I guess 1. You'd have to choose 1 here, I guess. This would be Tank Dell for me.
Yeah, we Tank as well. Wow,
right, we got a super chat.
Okay, yeah, we'll come back to Troy.
Size matters. Catfishing. Okay.
Come on, baby.
So size matter catfishing. We appreciate you. Thanks for the donation. He says sit 1, Nico Collins, Rice, Kupp, or Jameson Williams. I assume. If that's Javonte, that's an easy sit. Actually, regardless, it's the J Williams.
If it's Javonte or J-Mo, thank you so much for your service. Not this week.
Hey, if Jameson Williams comes out and is another 7 to 8 target game,
hey, we got to be serious.
He's got to be a top 15 name moving forward. But right now, we need to see more consistency over those other names.
I agree there. Troy Davis, this is waiver wire budget is 600, 12 team, double flex. How much would you use on Wan'Dale and DeMarcus? I mean, I'm assuming with a budget like 600, people kind of just spend whatever they want for someone as low as Wan'Dale or DeMarcus Robinson. Maybe like 80 fab. Like, is that enough?
That's way too much for me.
Like, think about it though. Like, that's nothing in their eyes.
The reason why I'm saying I don't care is because if a injury happens in week 2 and you have a clear starting running back on your waiver wire now, and you spent 100 fab on a player that you might or might start, you don't have the ammunition to go and get that potential league winner. So
sure, I understand that.
I am spending 0 fab. I don't care if you have 1,000 fab, because people just use it differently, right? So instead of $100 to go out and get a Puka Nakua on the waiver wire last year, you'd have to spend $600. So to me,
that's kind of how I'm envisioning it. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
I'm not spending any fab on these names. $10 fab I'd spend on them. Although I think they're going to be fine options.
Yeah, that's fair. Start Mayfield or Stafford or Goff would be Goff. Should I pick up Tank or Madison? It'll be Tank for me.
Yeah, I agree.
For waiver wire pickups between Brandon Cooks and Wandale, I want Brandon Cooks. You let me know. You feel the same with Cooks?
Yeah, I do. Goff or Fields this week. Goff, Tyler Johnson, or Bucky Irving. I think it depends on what you need here, man. Like I don't really have a strong preference here, but I would lean Bucky.
I love Bucky. Come on, Bucky. Get some more opportunity, baby. Keep talking it up.
Come on.
I love Bucky coming out of college. Scooby, I have Evans, Godwin, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, Debo. Who needs to go in for who? I'm good at running back. For me, I would try to downsize out of these Tampa wide receivers, but they both had great games. It's hard to sell. It's probably easy to sell Evans and Godwin and maybe tier up for somebody. That's where I would be going. I want to keep Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, and Debo long term.
If you can sell Godwin for Ayuk, who had a bad game, or Marvin Harrison, who had a bad game, that's ideal. Otherwise, you can hold for now. Who would you start at week 2 between Caleb, T-Law, and Fields? This would be Fields for me. Yeah, I mean, guys, keep in mind, with Justin Fields, he didn't score a touchdown. He still had 12 fantasy points. He rushed the ball 14 times. So, I mean, we're like a couple plays away from being a top 5 finish.
Yeah, I can understand that. I completely understand. I would go Justin Fields as well this week over T-Law and Caleb Williams. 2 tough matchups there for those guys. Hey guys, started Xavier Worthy last week due to your call. Current running backs, love that by the way. Current running back room is Brian Robinson, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, and Bucky. Trade Mason for Brian Robinson. Yes, we would do that.
Yes.
Get Brian Robinson
1,000 times. Yes.
Ronaldo, trade Mason and Higgins for Keenan Allen and Ford. To CMC owner, trade Mason and Higgins for Keenan Allen and Ford. Enough. That's not exactly. You should definitely be getting more than that if this guy's probably panicking and trying to get Mason off your hands. Stroud, Murray, and Daniels pick 2. This would be Stroud and Murray for me. Or actually, this is Murray. Yeah, Stroud and Murray.
Yeah.
I would say this very close with Daniels. Greg, who can I trade London for to get off my team? I don't think you could trade him right now, especially for what he did in week 1.
We always say this after week 1 every single year. Number 1, don't panic after 1 week. Number 2, if you have a player in your team that underperformed, everybody knows it. All right? No one thinks the same way about these players when they were drafting after week 1. So if you want to sell a player that did poorly, you'll never sell them well. You'll always regret it. I mean, who are you going to sell? Nobody wants London right now. I think you have to hold. Gerardo says, need a flex, Olave, McLaurin, Brian Robinson. This would be Olave for me.
This would be Olave for me, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I love it.
My ranking says Olave. My gut says Terry against my Giants, where Terry historically always has a great game against the Giants.
So just a heads up, guys, we will only answer questions for the next 5 minutes. We're going to go get some lunch here in Sydney, Australia. And we also are going to make some more content for you. So we'll answer questions until 48 minutes past the hour. So if you want to get a super chat in, you need something answered, now's the time. Otherwise, we're going in order. Jay Solsi says, he asked the chat a question. Emmanuel Saucy says, Pedro. Likely over Andrews. Yeah. We answered that one, right? I would start Andrews still this week.
We said Andrews. Yeah, I think we did answer. I will go Andrews. Timbo happy PR. Need 2 wide receivers in a flex. Wide receiver options are Collins, Pittman, Ayuk. 2 wide receivers in a flex. Nico Collins for sure. Amari Cooper for me. And then it would be between Pittman and Brian Thomas. Let me just rock with
all the wide receivers personally. Every wide receiver you mentioned, I'd rock with, as in the top 3 names. So
Yeah,
it'd be Collins, Pittman,
I'm
and
rocking
Cooper
with
for
you.
me. We did get a super chat
as well.
from Jung so he is skipping the queue here. Appreciate the donation, man. He says, what's your opinion on the Broncos running back situation? I have Javonte as my flex. Should I be panicking on him? Pick McLaughlin or Estimate, play Jameson at flex instead? Appreciate you guys. I would 100,000% be playing Jameson Williams instead. Like, look, Jameson could easily bust, but we have now seen his range of outcome. His range of outcome is an 8-target game in one of the best offenses in the NFL with incredible deep play touchdown upside. Like, one deep target from Jameson is maybe worth 15 carries for Javonte in that Denver backfield. Like, as crazy as that sounds, if Jameson catches a 50-yard play, 50-yard catch, that might be more valuable than any single play Javonte has this entire season. So
yeah, I completely agree.
My opinion on the Broncos running back is gross. Don't want literally any of them in fantasy football.
For me, I would still want Jaleel. I can understand it does look terrible, but I can see Jaleel just being the main guy here. But it is tough to gauge in week 1. Jaleel with the PPR upside, I think, is what is intriguing me. But thank you so much for that super chat.
I wanted to just quickly show you guys how they utilize this backfield in week 1. It was gross. Really, really gross. You can see here, so Jaleel is the dark blue, okay? So Jaleel played 24 snaps. We have Javonte as a light green. He played 34. But look at how they used him. Jaleel had more early down work, which makes no sense. Jaleel is not a big body back, all right? He's this dynamic, in-space type of player. That's where you thought Javonte would be used. Nope. On third downs, Javonte had more work, but it was pretty much cut down the middle. And by the way, we are in week 1, and we're already seeing Audric Estime get some work. I know it was only 3 snaps, but most people would have anticipated Audric Estime being a healthy scratch. So is this an indication of things to come? Even when there was 2 running backs, you couldn't start either of these names. If it's going to be 3, this will be the least valuable backfield in all of fantasy football, maybe. So, like, yeah, the Pats might be a worse team, maybe, but Ramondre gets everything. There's just, I don't know. I don't have much interest in it, personally.
I can understand. Ian, thank you so much for the super chat there. He said last one, 5 PPR or half PPR, 10 team, Keon Coleman or Terry. This would be Terry for me.
Yeah, you got to start Terry this week versus a great matchup versus the Giants. So you want to lose, is what I'm hearing.
No, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. If we do lose, we know what we need to do. Bring in Drew Lock. Give me Tommy Cutlets. We just need something else. Give me something else. Like,
yeah.
I think it's still too early to lose. What I will say is that Giants versus Panthers, that's going to be first round pick indications. I'll tell you that right now.
Ramble on for a second. I have a report, maybe. Ramble on for a second.
So I continue. I 100% will continue to talk about my Giants. But yes, I am concerned about the Giants. If Daniel Jones can't pick it up, I mean, he was probably just used to having that internal clock being like less than a second. So every decision, even he had time in the pocket, and he was like, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" But hopefully that helps. I will continue to answer these questions from the top. Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud rest of the season. Look, I personally would still want CJ Stroud, but I wouldn't be upset with Anthony Richardson. I can understand Central. If Devon doesn't play, start Alexander Madison or Justice Hill. These are 2 guys I don't want to start. I think in a negative game script that's going to be in favor of the Raiders, I would go Alexander Madison. But, I mean, we have no indications of what. Ian, also Keon Coleman for Terry McLaurin, which you just put in the super chat. We'll go Terry. Thank you so much. Alex, 1 flex and 1 super flex. Herbert, McConkey, Allen, Ford, Monty, Swift. If that's Josh Allen, I'm starting Josh Allen. In the
okay,
super
so
flex.
sorry, I saw someone post about the Dolphins and their availability, but I think they were joking because basically the coaching staff said nothing, literally nothing that was useful at all. So that's my bad. But guys, that is our time. So we do appreciate y'all big time. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the support. Thank you for every like and super chat and question. I'm so sorry if we weren't able to get to every one of your questions. I have great news though. Okay. If you do want to ask a question, you can ask us at literally any time. All right. I'll spam this in the chat for you. Guys, we're about to go eat some lunch. We're going to go make some content, but you can still ask a question at any time with the link that I just put in the chat. And it'll also be pinned in the comment section later on, but we appreciate you all. So much love. Thank you so much for being with us. Last thing I'll say is go follow our other account, which is Fantasy Never Stops. We've already got some start sits of the week with short form content. So go give us a follow over there. I'll paste that link in the chat. But Aki's doing great work over there. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon. All love.